Welcome everyone to a new Unpacked series where I'm going to be reviewing Super Mario Bros. Wonder, so stick around. Now, before we jump right into this review, I did do a recent playthrough of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'll have it listed in the description or in one of the cards in the top right corner, so definitely check it out if you're interested. Alright, I'm gonna try to make this quick and give a brief overview. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the newest entry to the Super Mario Bros. Series with a mission of new in the title for some reason. It completely changed the formula of how New Super Mario Bros. Game should be played. So the story is pretty simple. Bowser invades this flower kingdom and steals a Wonder Flower and becomes Castle Bowser. You're joined with Prince Florian to save the Flower Kingdom by collecting the Royal Seeds, and the Royal Seeds are used to eliminate a Cloud Piranha guarding Castle Bowser. Alright, starting with characters, at the beginning you're introduced by a healthy roster of 11 characters to choose from. And this is Daisy's first debut in a new Super Mario Bros. Game. Wait, not new. Hold up. I'm so glad they didn't sack my boy Blue Toad this time around. I was so disappointed when they gave us Yellow Toad only in the previous New Super Mario Bros. Game, like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, for some reason. I'm sure everyone unanimously agreed that Blue Toad is the best Toad. That's just my bias. For the first time, Yoshi is a playable character, giving us green, yellow, red, and cyan Yoshis. But I'm disappointed that not one Yoshi plays normally and takes damage. Like, come on. I get it that these characters are supposed to be easy mode for like younger audiences, but I cannot see the justification of using all 4 Yoshis as easy playable characters, when in fact one of them could play normally like Mario. Like, why? Unfortunately, this led me to not playing Yoshi throughout the whole game of my playthrough of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, except till the very end, just to try it out, because I really want to enjoy the challenge of the game. Like, it just sucks out all the fun if you are playing in baby mode all the time. I'm sorry. Along with the Yoshis, we also got Nabbit, a returning character from New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and I fully understand that it's meant to be an easy mode character. He has invincibility, can't use power-ups, and for some reason turns items into flower coins instead of 1-ups. Speaking of power-ups, in New Super Mario Bros. Wonder, hold up, not new, I keep forgetting. It's not new, it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder. In Super Mario Bros. Wonder, they introduced us 3 new power-ups, the Elephant Fruit, Bubble Flower, and the Drill Mushroom. First of all, we got the featured poster boy power-up, the Elephant Fruit, which allows you to transform into an elephant and use your trunk, which also allows you to attack, inhale water, and exhale it to water plants and get flower coins or coins in general. You may also kill multi-hit enemies in one jump, and also it adds trumpets to the music, so that's a nice change of ambiance. Next up, we have the Bubble Flower power-up, which is honestly my favorite, which allows you to shoot bubbles horizontally, kill enemies similar to blue baby Yoshis like they did in New Super Mario Bros. U. You can jump on bubbles too, apparently, and it might be good for some speedrunning tactics. I don't know too much of the speedrunning scene in this game, but it's cool. There's actually like tutorial videos like such as Izaw showcasing how to jump on every single bubble. I haven't learned it yet, but it's pretty cool. You should probably check it out. Next, you also have the Drill Mushroom, which allows you to bury into the ground or ceiling and bypass dead ends. The drill hat gives you invincibility above your head and kill enemies. So if, let's say, you jump and an enemy falls on your head, you could immediately kill it. You can also ground pound with the drill and break certain objects like crystals in the game. Of course, the classic Fire Flower power-up makes a return, but other power-ups are omitted, like the Penguin Suit, the Ice Flower, and also the Propeller Suit, because usually in a New Super Mario Bros. Game, they often bring back the older power-ups, but in this game, they only decided on the Fire Flower. I guess it's to focus on the new power-ups, because most of these levels are designed for these new power-ups. But yeah, it would have been cool if they brought back those older New Super Mario Bros. Wii power-ups. Could have been cool. last but not least, we have the most iconic power-up of the game, or you could say the poster boy power-up, which is the Wonder Flower, which allows you to transform you or the stage. And every stage has a Wonder Flower, and if you do complete that Wonder Flower challenge successfully, it'll give you an extra Wonder Seed. Along with the Wonder Flower, we have badges, which gives you new abilities like the Parachute Cap, Fast Dash, Spin Jump, Grappling Vine, and etc. But man, I really love the new badges. It really changes the way how you play a new Super Mario Bros. Game ever, so kudos to Nintendo for that. Next up, let's talk about the mechanics of the game. It's pretty much similar to the previous iterations of the new Super Mario Bros. Series, but in this game though, they removed timers. For the release of this game, I had an unpopular opinion that removing the timer was not a good thing, because in the previous iterations, if you get like double digits, like the same double digits, it allows you to unlock a special stage at the beginning of the course, like in New Super Mario Bros. 2. So let's say you reach the flagpole on 55 seconds. That'll allow you to unlock new power-ups at the end of the stage, or you can unlock a new stage, which allows you to get tons of coins like in New Super Mario Bros. 2. At first, I found it kind of weird that they didn't include the timer again in a New Super Mario Bros. Game, but I get it that they don't want to put too much stress on the player and allow them to fully explore the stage. So I get that point, I fully understand it. So omission of the timer is not a deal breaker for me to buy this game. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what do you think of this unpopular opinion. Do you think they should have still included the timer in a New Super Mario Bros. Game or not? So the question is, are there timers in New Super Mario Bros. Wonder? Man, I keep calling it new for some reason. Alright, forgive me for that. But yeah, yes, but actually no, because there's no timers in the actual level except for Wonder Flowers. Because when you get a Wonder Flower, you have to finish that challenge in a specific time, or else you won't get that extra Wonder Seed. And you'll also have like invisible timers for like P-switches and time blocks, but that's pretty much it. So that's just my 2 cents on timers. Now that's a lot of timers talk. Let's talk about other mechanics of the game. So I'm not sure if this is the first time in a 2D Mario game, but you can crouch walk in this game. You may also ground pound in midair, but also cancel it. So I'm not sure if this was also in the previous iterations. Let me know down in the comments. One thing I was disappointed of, that they removed the triple jump in the core gameplay. Yes, but actually no, because there's a badge that allows you to triple jump, so I guess that'll make up for it. Tossing shells upwards makes a return from Super Mario World, so that's a nice change. Or you could say from Super Mario Maker 1 and 2, but I don't really count Super Mario Maker 1 and 2 part of the new Super Mario Bros. Series. And yes, I've already mentioned this before, but they introduced badges, which allows characters with extra abilities, and it adds more replayability value to the game. Ah yes, one of my favorite categories to talk about, the art style and animation, and let me get into that real quick. This is definitely the most expressive Super Mario Bros. Game ever I've played, and it gave characters extra facial expressions, and not only characters, enemies too. Man, the animations of this game is so fluid and cartoony, and what I like about the animation, they add a slight motion blur, as you can see in the gameplay here. I may have an unpopular opinion, but I think adding a little bit of motion blur to the characters did add a lot to their expressions, so I think I need to see a lot more in other 2D games. They also added extra interactions in the overworld, like you see in the trailer where Mario enters a pipe and exits and catches his hat, so those are nice little touches. Speaking of the overworld has a very bright and vibrant look to it. It has a 3D world inspired map where you can kind of freely roam around the map, but also it kind of reminded me of Yoshi's Crafted World, that look of it, just by looking at the hills and what is it called? Pipe Rock Plateau. So take a look at it. It's pretty similar to that art style too. In this game, they had a better use of lighting, shadows, and silhouettes in some levels, and I wanted to focus on silhouettes. I really love those silhouette stages, kind of similar to like Donkey Kong, so it's a very nice addition to the game. The HUD also looks good. It's very clean and sleek, and when you open up the title, it looks a lot more pretty, and I'm often interacting with the map more often, or the menu, than in previous iterations of the game. The menu is very easy and effective to use, and I can easily swap out characters at any moment in time, so that's cool. Once again, Nintendo proves that you don't need the most realistic looking graphics if you have amazing timeless art style like in New Super Mario Bros. Stop! I keep calling it new. It's Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So yes, not only you have good art style, but the game runs very smoothly, and there are some techniques that they use to make it run smoothly, so some of the background may be blurred out, but not enough to notice. So most of the time, I'm playing the game, I'm focusing on Mario, for example, and the background looks pretty good because that's more like in my peripheral vision, and my focal point of view is me playing the character. So that's pretty nice. And some of the enemies, maybe it looks a bit off at sometimes because the frame rate is kind of low on these enemies. The game is very resourceful with its assets. For example, the background, it looks 3D, but it's actually 2D, so it gives that 3D illusion. So things like that really make the game run really smooth. They got great use of sprites on enemies, so it doesn't hiccup the game and chug the performance, and some objects in the background too. Now, I want to talk about the world themes in this game because they seem to be pretty different from the previous iterations. We got new biomes like Shining Falls and Fungi Mines, so those additions are pretty nice because typically in other Super Mario Bros. Game we have the same returning biomes. So yeah, it's a nice change that they added some new biomes to this game. I'm loving Fungi Mines especially. It's such an interesting look. And then also Shining Falls. I kind of like the biomes of Shining Falls, but the problem is I don't really like the gameplay, especially the copycat enemies. It's kind of annoying, and the gameplay is pretty choppy in Shining Falls, so I may have an unpopular opinion. Let me know if you guys agree down in the comments. One thing I forgot to mention about Fungi Mines though is the lava. The lava or the soda, whatever you want to call it, that poisonous fluid looks so good. The green Damascus fluid, whatever it is, it looks so good because you know those like iPhones and MacBooks that have those skins? It kind of looks like that. Maybe I'll show an image of it on screen so you get a good idea of it. Now, I want to talk about the enemies. Almost every level has a new enemy, like 95% of the game, and some of these enemies get powered by Wonder Flowers. And these enemies are quite expressive than the other games because they also dance a lot too for some reason, and you have those like musical levels like piranha plants walking around the stage, so that's a nice change. Now, let's talk about the game and level design. The developers outdid themselves this time. Doesn't feel like the same bland level designs like the previous entries of Super Mario Bros. But yeah, the level design is 10 out of 10. Wonder Flowers add so much to the level by transforming you or the stage. Man, it's nice to see a new Mario game with the same Nintendo polish. Like, Mario games never let us down, at least from what I know. So in this game, every level has flower buds to collect, which gives you an item like a power-up or a wonder flower, or even a secret exit. And every world has a couple challenges like the Wiggler Race, Badge Challenges, Showdown, Break Time, and Expert Challenges, which the previous games really didn't have much of. So it's a really nice addition. Exception of Search Party though. I really hate the Search Party because it's like kind of random. Like those blocks are like Kaizo blocks, so it's like playing Super Mario Maker 1 or 2 all over again. So yeah, most of the Search Party challenges I really don't like. Now let me know down in the comments if you agree to this opinion or not, and how do you feel about Search Party challenges. Now to get to the special world is pretty easy, and you can access it pretty early on, especially in World 1. You can unlock these special worlds through secret exits, by completing the whole world, or they're usually also unlocked by expert challenges. Everything about the game design and level design is great except for one thing. And what is that one thing, you may ask? Well, that's a lack of castles. Feels like there's a void at the end of the world. Quite underwhelming. And airships have no bosses apparently. Very underwhelming to finish that airship level, especially if it's just a press of a button at the end. Like, come on, I would expect some kind of boss battle like the previous Super Mario Bros. Game. Just give me Bowser Jr. or like Chemix, someone. Come on. Hey, even the Koopalings would have been a nice addition, but for some reason we didn't get the Koopalings. If you're not gonna add the Koopalings, give us Bowser Jr. again, or like Chemix, something, or even the Brutals. We haven't seen the Brutals in a while, but I don't see them in the same Mario universe as the 3D World games and the 2D Mario World games, so like I don't like to mix those two up. So yeah, maybe an unpopular opinion. What do you think? Do you think 2D Mario games and 3D Mario games are all in the same, you could say, multiverse? Let me know. Now, coming back to game design, we haven't talked about the rewards. So these rewards are often like pop-in shops you'll find from world to world, like new badges, standees, wonder seeds, one-ups, like using your flower coins that you've accumulated, and etc. Now we come to the music. Now, just take a moment and have a listen to this, how awesome this sounds. Man, I'm so glad they didn't reuse the same soundtrack from the previous games. Well, there is an omission of Boss, and this soundtrack is totally brand new from the ground up with awesome remixes like the underground theme and airship theme. And that one airship theme is from like, I think Super Mario Maker 1, so it's a nice addition, a nice switch up from the original airship theme that we usually listen to. And man, they didn't have to go this hard on an airship theme. That's like probably one of the best metal remixes for a Super Mario Bros. Game. And you could already tell that the soundtrack sounds a little bit more richer, like more emphasis on bass. And what I mean by bass, just have a listen to like the underground theme. It actually slaps. And same with airship theme once again. That's like my favorite. It's nice to see a metal theme going on in a new Super Mario Bros. Game. I keep calling it new, forgive me once again. I feel like in this Super Mario Bros. Game they have a more variety of genres of music, like metal. I heard some like Wii or DS era music, like that Space Wonder Flower level. I don't know which one it is, but it's the space one in Piper Off Plateau. That one was good. Now we come to the boss battles, and I understand there's a lot of criticism for the boss battles, like omission of bosses and whatnot, but before we talk about that, I'm gonna praise some stuff about the boss battles. Now, Bowser Jr. was the most interesting and reoccurring boss in the game. He had a very interesting transformation, like he shoots out his jaw in his transformations, and this time he takes more than 3 hits. I don't remember a previous Super Mario Bros. Game where he took more than 3 hits, so it doesn't feel like I'm like brushing through the whole boss, but it still kind of feels that way because it's still kind of easy. And some levels there are exceptions, so that's my take on it. He had a lot of different attack patterns and abilities, like cloning himself. There's no boss battle in the airship, only a button. Pretty lackluster, like I mentioned before. Now, I may talk about a little bit of spoilers, but I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to fight Bowser man to man. It felt like a typical Andros battle with some added beats to the jump from spring-like platforms. He doesn't seem that expressive. I have no problem with transformation, I just prefer to fight him closer to his original form. So I was expecting a boss battle in the very last level in the special world, assuming that I have reached the last level, and to my research I haven't, but still, they didn't add a boss. Now it would have been cool if Bowser made a return, or maybe like a duo with Bowser Jr. If not them, then Kamek. What's the point of Kamek being in the game? I saw him like in Deep Magma Bog, but I didn't get to fight Kamek even once. All he does is like throw out some PlayStation buttons from his little wand. Now, next time around, I would expect to see a boss every single world, or even a castle. I didn't get to see a castle in every world, which we did in the previous iterations, so that would have been a nice addition if they added all the castles, but maybe next time if we get Super Mario Bros. Wonder 2. Alright, I want to talk about one small thing before we get to the conclusion, and that is, I don't know why, but Nintendo always seems to like make us sound illiterate, because when I played Petal Isles or something, one of the stages, I was talking to Bowser and he used the word in the preamble? I guess preamble? I've never read that word before. Preamble. Now, I've never encountered the word preamble. Maybe it's just me or I'm illiterate, but it seems to be that Nintendo in every single Mario game, or Nintendo game in general, seems to throw you a word that is a word you're not really familiar with. Because usually these games have very easy vocabulary, but they always throw you some curveball. So let me know down in the comments if you feel the same way too. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Man, I've been craving a new 2D platforming Mario game for a long while. And then I've always had those like Super Mario Maker fans that tell me that Super Mario Bros. The series is kind of redundant now because you have Mario Maker and you can create the levels. But the thing is, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have that Nintendo polish to it, alright? I'm throwing shade at these Mario Maker fans. But still, like, I'd rather prefer to play developer designed courses, and there's more opportunity for like new mechanics in the game. In Super Mario Maker, yes, you do get some new mechanics, but I like those mechanics to be focused on like in the new Super Mario Bros. Game, like we have with the elephant fruit, the drill mushroom, and the bubble flower, and those badges. Like, imagine if we went with the opinion with these Super Mario Maker fans, then we never would have had a Super Mario Bros. Wonder game like this. So in the future, I'd like to see more 2D Mario games like this. As someone else said on YouTube, that this is like the renaissance of 2D games, and I'm taking his quote from him. Someone from like Demetre or something. But I really agree with this sentence, that this may be the new renaissance of 2D Mario games. Another game I'm looking towards to is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. That might be one of the best 2D games in 2024, so look out for that on the channel if you're interested. Now, coming back to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the notion that 3D games are more superior or more innovative than 2D has been debunked, and I love it. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like 3D Mario games and 3D games in general, but it's not the only thing I would want to play. I was really craving for a 2D Mario game like this that requires a lot more precision, not in the same way that a 3D game delivers. One thing I like about 2D games over 3D games is that the developers give you a good sense of direction compared to 3D games, and it's a lot more foolproof too, because in 3D games you have more ability to like cheese your way through. I'm not saying that you can't cheese in a 2D game, but you're more likely to cheese in a 3D game than in a 2D game, because in a 2D game it's a lot more linear and requires a lot more precision, like I mentioned before. Now, to sum this up, this is definitely a game worth picking up. And yes, maybe you do prefer 3D games to this day, and you still will, but it's definitely a game worth trying, even if you don't like 2D. Maybe this will change your minds. Now, I'm not saying I would ever not play 3D Mario games. I still play 3D Mario games and other 3D games. I just like to have a balance between the two, 3D and 2D. Now, this may be the best Super Mario Bros. Game to date, and it's definitely um, gonna lead the direction for the new 2D games in the future. So I hope developers do get inspired by this game, and I'm looking forward to playing more 2D games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and I hope New Super Mario Bros. Series gets a revival. I think it definitely will. Now, there's a lot of things I omitted from this video, like the multiplayer aspect, because I haven't played enough of it, but it's cool to see multiplayer and local multiplayer make a return, and the first time we have online multiplayer, so that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll talk about it in a different video, but let me know down in the comments what do you think of this game, and be sure to like or dislike and subscribe if you can, because it really helps out. And I'll see you guys next time around in the next Unpacked series, and check out more playthroughs in the future.